Imagine a metal that melts easily, resists corrosion, and is found everywhere. For the Romans, lead wasn't a poison, it was a miracle tool for building a superpower. While we see a toxic hazard, they saw a flexible superpower. Lead was the plastic of the ancient world, adaptable, cheap, and incredibly easy to manipulate for construction. It didn't rust like iron or cost a fortune like gold. This accessibility meant that from the poorest slum to the emperor's palace, lead was absolutely everywhere. But there's a catch. This incredibly convenient material has a dark side that the Romans completely ignored for centuries, leading to a slow-motion health catastrophe for millions. Today, we're diving into the strange obsession the Romans had with lead and asking, did their love for plumbing actually lead to their ultimate downfall? Let's find out. The word plumbing actually comes from the Latin word plumbum, meaning lead. It's a linguistic reminder that the Romans literally built their water systems out of this toxic metal. They created massive networks of lead pipes to bring fresh water into cities and private homes, ensuring a level of luxury unseen anywhere else in the ancient world. Lead was the perfect choice because it was easy to bend and solder. It allowed engineers to create complex curves and joints without needing advanced high-heat machinery. However, the water flowing through these pipes slowly leached lead into the drinking supply. Every glass of water was essentially a tiny dose of neurotoxin for the citizens. Surprisingly, some Romans noticed the danger. Vitruvius warned that lead water was unhealthy, but the convenience of the system far outweighed the vague concerns about long-term health. If you think pipes were bad, wait until you hear about their food. Romans loved a sweetener called sapa, a syrup made by boiling grape juice. To get the perfect taste and prevent acidity, they boiled the juice in lead pots. This created lead acetate, also known as sugar of lead, which tastes sweet. They used this syrup in everything, wine, sauces, and desserts. It was the high-fructose corn syrup of the ancient world, but with a side of permanent brain damage. The wealthy suffered the most because they could afford more wine and expensive sapa. The ruling class was literally seasoning their dinner with a potent neurotoxin. Imagine a banquet where every dish is laced with lead. The Romans weren't just drinking from lead pipes, they were eating the metal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Beauty is pain, but for Romans, beauty was also toxic. Lead powder was used in makeup to achieve a pale complexion, which was a sign of high status. Women applied lead-based white pigments to their faces daily. While it looked elegant, it caused skin erosion and systemic poisoning that affected their internal organs and nerves. Even their medicine was suspect. Lead was used in various ointments and potions to treat everything from skin rashes to internal ailments, ironically making the patients much sicker. They didn't have the tools to see the microscopic damage happening inside their bodies. To them, the visible results were what mattered, regardless of the hidden cost. From the face cream to the pharmacy, lead was integrated into the Roman lifestyle. It was a pervasive chemical presence that no one knew how to escape. So, what happens when a whole society consumes lead? It attacks the central nervous system, causing irritability, cognitive decline, and severe memory loss in the population. Chronic lead poisoning can lead to Satanism, named after the god Saturn. Symptoms include gout, abdominal pain, and a slow descent into madness or dementia. Some historians argue that the eccentric and erratic behavior of later emperors was actually a result of lead poisoning, turning stable leaders into paranoid, unstable tyrants. While lead didn't cause the empire to fall overnight, it likely created a cognitive tax. A society with impaired decision-making is much harder to govern effectively. It wasn't a sudden crash, but a slow erosion of mental health. The very material that helped them build their city was quietly undermining their ability to rule. Did lead actually destroy Rome? Most modern historians say, not exactly. The empire fell due to complex political, economic, and military pressures, not just a few pipes. However, lead poisoning certainly didn't help. It likely weakened the elite and added a layer of biological instability to an already crumbling political structure of power. Interestingly, the Romans were saved from even worse poisoning by their hard water. Calcium deposits built up inside the pipes, creating a natural protective limestone barrier. The lesson here is a classic one: technology often brings hidden costs. The Romans solved an engineering problem but accidentally created a massive public health crisis in return. Next time you see a modern plastic pipe, be glad we've moved past the lead era. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep your heavy metals out of your wine.